I want to tell you about my new obsession. It's called Kabaddi, and it's the playground game that went pro. Looking at is 2 teams of 7 players trying to win points by taking turns to raid one another. Each raid sees just 1 player from a team running over to the other side and trying to touch 1 or more players. If you do that and make it back over the line, amazing! Every player you touched is out, as if you were a human dodgeball. Now, are you ready for the crazy part? As the raider, you have to hold your breath for as long as you're in the other half of the court. And we know you're doing this because you are continually chanting Kabaddi. And if the other team can force you to take a breath before you cross back over the line by restraining you, it's you, the raider, that are out. So, if we're still thinking of this like dodgeball, it's as if the dodgeball is slowly asphyxiating. You want to touch someone, anyone, but look how good defenders will lure the raider deep into their half. As a raider, you have to constantly be thinking about your escape plan, because the moment you don't, the moment you get a bit too deep, get a bit too cocky, wham! I love it. And what's delightful here is that there are different styles of raider, and all of them could have come from professional wrestling. There are huge guys who are probably going to walk back over the line no matter how many defenders they have to drag with them. But there are also high-flying little guys who perform cinematic jumps with fantastic regularity. But Kabaddi is just as exciting when you're thinking about it from the perspective of the defense. For the defenders, the game is all about supernatural teamwork, where you guys have to decide, as a hive mind, when to go in for the kill. Watching pro Kabaddi defenses is like watching a bear trap clang shut. The defense is still, they hold back, they hold back, they hold back, until BAM! 800 pounds of professional athletes launching out to pin you. But the very best moments in Kabaddi are when they don't quite pull this off. It's when there aren't quite enough defenders to hold the raider down, or when someone just makes a mistake. You'll get a defender charging in like a killer, but then realizing at the last second that this isn't going to work, and then they have to fling themselves away from the raider so they don't so much as brush a finger against them. And you also get raiders who have so few defenders on them that it's possible for them to claw their way back towards their half of the court. And if they can just reach the line, then of course, everyone who's on them is out. Imagine being on the defense and watching the rest of your team get dragged back towards the line, and you have a split second to decide whether to get involved and help them, or whether that would be the dumbest thing imaginable. If I had to summarize the appeal of Kabaddi in one word, it would be that it is heroic. The only time I'm used to seeing one person cruelly outnumbered trying to get the better of their opponents using agility and determination and cunning is when I'm watching kung fu movies. Speaking of which, I cannot think of another team sport that has quite this many scorpion kicks. And the kicks are interesting because even if they don't connect, they might get a defender to take just 1 step further backwards than they are allowed, which is another way of eliminating the defense. And these rules are one of several reasons that defenders hold hands. It's not just to create barriers that raiders can't then dash through, or so you can sense when your team is moving in for the kill without looking at them. It's also so that if your teammate is about to fall out of the court, you can effortlessly yank them back in. So, let's recap. Kabaddi is fascinating, it is dramatic, and I'll tell you what else. Even within one 40-minute match, the action is always changing. Because scoring a point in Kabaddi eliminates a player on the other team but revives one of your players, the game you're watching is, from moment to moment, being played not just with different numbers of players on each side, but different players. How are the Patna Pirates going to fare now that that 7-foot-tall beast of a man is out? Pretty sure they only draft him because he looks like an actual pirate. And will this team's flawless defense hold now they're down to 6 players, or 5, or 4? Can your favorite team hold the line now there's just 3 of them? But it's one thing for me to tell you how amazing this game is when I'm only sat here watching it. So I went down to London's King's College Kabaddi Club to see what I could learn from playing. That's long. Oh, no, it's good. training began with grappling drills. Turns out when you need to bring someone to a complete stop as quickly as possible, it's all about snatching their ankles or thighs. Get a good grip, and this is comedically effective. The other thing I quickly found out is, same as anything else you might watch people doing from the safety of your sofa, Kabaddi involves a lot more effort than you'd think.
They've given us a 5-minute water break, but it's kind of unnecessary because it's pretty easy this, honestly. Oh, sorry, excuse me, yeah, I was saying it's easy. It's nothing to it. That was embarrassing.
Since the club wanted to train their defense for a match they had coming up, I then got to try raiding, which went about as well as you'd expect. Go down. And then, surprising literally everybody present, I was able to deploy my broomstick-like arms to tag somebody, before gracefully retreating back over the line.
Oh, okay. Close.
Oh no, that was a touch.
Yeah. Did you get it?
That was amazing, right? When we play that back, you're gonna sort of hand of, Adam touches God. just a fingertip. That's what pros do, because all you need is a fingertip.
Soon, my long arms and lack of dignity caught the attention of the team's star players.
For someone who's played for the first time, I think you actually played really well. One thing I would work on, and it's something that you will get while playing more, is 100% your aggression. Getting that bit of like killer instinct with the raiding, 100%, even with the tackling as well. Just get really stuck in there. Killer instinct, yeah, that's what I want.
I'm gonna breathe now.
Takeaways from that: I knew that Kabaddi was a game of one person taking on 7 people. Here's what I found out when I actually did it. 7 people is a lot of people. It's actually more people than you can keep in your vision and peripheral vision at one point, except you have to do exactly that, because the moment you lose sight of someone, they're gonna get behind you and pick you up like a piece of overconfident furniture. I was surprised, but defending actually seems more nerve-wracking because your entire team is there with you, counting on you not to get touched. Except, of course, if somebody does get touched, then instead they're counting on you to fling yourself into the situation, to grab this person who you just spent 10, 20, 30 seconds avoiding. Also, for what it's worth, I cannot remember ever playing a contact sport that's as friendly as this. I've never before played a game where, players are flinging one another to the ground, wrestling one another, and yet it all feels so good-hearted and warm. It's nice.
Good job.
So, if Kabaddi is this much fun and watched by hundreds of millions of people, you might be wondering why you haven't heard of it. Well, it's because it only blew up in the last few years, which is nuts because it is, in fact, one of the oldest games in the world. This book on the history of Kabaddi by Vivek Chowdhury can only offer that the game has just perennially existed in the dust of India. It makes sense that a sport involving chanting would emerge from the same civilization that gave us yoga 3,000 years ago. But what about the rest of the rules? Well, nobody knows. But there is one very fun theory. The ancient Indian epic, the Mahābhārata, which has the frightening accolade of being the longest poem ever written, tells a story about the Kurukshetra War, which may have taken place some 5,000 years ago. Legend has it that one side deployed an impregnable 7-layered formation of soldiers known as the Chakravyu. Chakra meaning spinning wheel and view meaning puzzle. The enemy soldiers would be drawn into its maze-like interior, but would either be killed by stronger and stronger soldiers as they fought their way in, or get turned around and accidentally fight their way back out. But the young warrior Abhimanyu had long ago been tutored in the arts of war by the god Krishna while in his mother's womb, and was taught the secret of penetrating all 7 layers of the deadly maze. He declared, "I shall enter this unassailable army as a moth might enter a blazing fire." The boy entered the Chakravyu and inflicted ferocious damage on the enemy army. But then tragedy struck. The knowledge the boy was gifted with was incomplete. He couldn't find his way out again, and the Mahābhārata says he was brought down like an elephant slain by hunters. Historians believe that this epic might just have inspired the game of Kabaddi. One warrior plunging into a 7-tiered defense with the real goal being to succeed where Abhimanyu failed and get back out again. But whatever the truth is, before India got dosed with football and cricket, Kabaddi was the Indian game. And in a way, Kabaddi being played everywhere in India is why you haven't heard of it. When sports require equipment or space or training, the game becomes aspirational. The players become sources of interest and the sport can accrue money and glamour that businessmen can then reinvest back into marketing the sport. Instead, Kabaddi requires no equipment. This then means it's played everywhere, like tag or hide and seek, which means it's the opposite of aspirational, which means there's no money in it. Until recently. 5 years ago, Indian steel magnate and entrepreneur Anand Mahindra had an idea. Mahindra imagined a new, professional Kabaddi league. All his team had to do was make it glamorous. No easy task when the players that Mahindra would recruit for his new league would come from rural India. And in his own words, my generation always felt anything Indian was not worth bothering about because it was not up to the same standard. So a stylist was hired to give these strapping village boys fashionable haircuts and classy new kits, and dirt courts were replaced with brightly coloured mats just so they'd look more expensive. Whatever the average Indian's mental image of Kabaddi, the Pro Kabaddi League did the opposite. In 2014, the league launched, and by the end of the first season, it was watched by 435 million viewers. If this could happen to Kabaddi, and it could happen to tag, I've got to wonder what other games that people grew up playing as kids are going to be reborn as professional sports in the future. If I've got you excited about watching some Pro Kabaddi with this video, you can find a ton of highlight clips on YouTube. Although I am sad to say it's currently very difficult to find full matches if you're outside of India. Although, if Kabaddi has taught me anything, it's that you never know what the future holds.
This video was sponsored by Tab for a Cause, a new computer program that sees you giving your money to charity.
No, Quinns, that's wrong. So it's not your money, it's, do you know what a browser extension is?
Eyebrows.
No. So Tab for a Cause is something that you install on either Google Chrome or Firefox, and then every time you open a tab, you see a little ad in the corner like this, which raises just a bit of money that goes to charity. And
my money.
No.
Whoever owns the ad pays Tab for a Cause, which they then donate to the charity.
Okay, so I should use this link available in the video description so I can give someone else's money to charity.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's stealing.
No.
You know what? I get it. I get it, guys. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks. That's great.
Quinns is an idiot, we're sorry. If you do click that link in our video description, you can see how much the extension has raised for charity so far, a whopping $870,000 at the time of recording this video. Plus, and this is something we really like about how they work, the financial reports are publicly available, as is the source code for the extension itself. So yeah, have a look if you like.
To support the work we do, and for behind-the-scenes commentaries and art prints sent straight to your door, check out patreon.com/peoplemakegames.